He had everything, but couldn't open a door without trembling. Jonathan adjusted his cufflinks, stone-faced. He called room service. Filet mignon, medium rare, now. Click, knock, knock. He opened the door. A woman, black, pregnant, eyes calm, belly heavy, hands steady. He blinked. Just 1 second. Then, slam. The door shut in her face. Lock clicked like a verdict, back on the phone. Get someone else. I don't care who, just not her. Silence again. Jonathan poured himself wine, didn't drink. Outside, Danielle stared at the wood grain, then slowly took out a small folded letter, pressed it to the door, turned, left. Jonathan's suite was quiet, too quiet. Marble floors, a view of the city, no sound, no laughter, no trace of life. He walked past a grand piano no one played. A dinner table set for one. His shadow followed him longer than anyone else ever had. He loosened his tie, checked his phone. No messages, not even from his assistant. Just a notification. Net worth update. He smirked, then closed the screen. On the wall, photos of awards, handshakes, headlines, but not one photo of family. Not even Monica. He opened a drawer. Inside, a single envelope, unopened, yellowing. He looked at it, then shut the drawer again, hard. He poured himself a second glass of wine. Still didn't drink. Danielle stepped off the late bus. Rain had soaked the hem of her uniform. She held her belly with one hand. The other gripped a plastic grocery bag. Her apartment was small. One light bulb flickered in the kitchen. A calendar on the fridge read 3 months behind. She kicked off Warner's shoes, hung her name badge by the door. Danielle Carter, housekeeping. She sat, not on a couch, just a mattress on the floor. Her breath slowed, eyes heavy. She placed one hand over her stomach, then looked at the photo taped to the wall. 2 women, smiling, young, Danielle and Monica. Monica's face was brighter, fuller, alive. Underneath, scribbled in pen, "Sisters by heart, not by blood." Danielle stared at it, silent. Then she whispered, "I found him." Jonathan sat alone, the envelope from earlier now on the table, still sealed. His fingers touched the edge. A breath, a pause, flash, a tiny apartment, 2 mugs, one chipped, Monica laughing in the kitchen, hair tied back. "It's just burnt toast, not the end of the world," she joked. He sat at her table, broken, bitter, head in hands. Monica slid over a grocery bag. Inside, soup, cold meds, a job listing. She kissed his forehead. "You're not finished. You're just stuck." Flash, her hand in his, walking past a bus stop. Him scribbling business ideas on napkins. Her nodding, believing in dreams no one else did. Flash, back to now. Jonathan blinked hard. The envelope was still unopened. He pushed it aside, stood, walked to the window, didn't look out. Danielle sat at the edge of her bed. Elijah's shoes were tucked neatly under it. She stared at the photo again. Monica's smile had faded from the paper, but not from memory. She reached into a drawer, pulled out a folded paper. Room 2308, Jonathan Blake. She'd seen the name on the guest list that morning. Her eyes didn't blink. No surprise, no fear, just a long, quiet breath. She stood, pressed her palm against her belly, reached for her housekeeping apron, slipped it on like armor, no tears, only silence. She stepped into the hallway, past other guests, other rooms, stopped at 2308, knocked once, then again. Door opened. His face, older, still sharp, still cold. He didn't recognize her, not really. She held her stare. He slammed the door. She didn't flinch. Danielle stood outside room 2308. She balanced the tray carefully. Filet mignon. Still hot. A linen napkin folded crisp. One envelope on top. Her hands trembled, slightly. She took a breath, steadying them. She crouched, placed the tray gently on the floor, straightened the envelope on the front to Jonathan Blake, no return address, no name. Inside, just one line. If you ever loved her, even once, read to the end. She knocked once, didn't wait, turned and walked away. Moments later, the door cracked open. Jonathan stepped out, saw the tray. His eyes landed on the envelope. He picked it up, looked both ways down the hall. Empty. He held the letter, as if it burned his fingers. He didn't open it. Not yet. Jonathan stood at the minibar, the envelope in his hand. He stared at it, then dropped it on the counter, hard. A moment passed. He turned, walked away. Later that night, he couldn't sleep. Pillow untouched, curtains open, city lights blinking like reminders. He got up, paced, looked at the counter, the letter still there. He picked it up again, then threw it in the trash. Silence. Minutes passed. He returned, opened the trash can, took it out, smoothed the creases. His fingers hovered, still didn't open it. But sound. A laugh in his head, her laugh, flash. Monica in a sundress, spinning in the rain. Come on, Jonathan, just once, be free. Back to now. His face didn't move, but his grip tightened. Jonathan held the letter, still unopened. He placed it face down on the desk, as if turning it away would silence it. He reached for the phone, dialed. Front desk. His voice was flat. No more visits from that woman. I don't want her near my room again. A pause. Yes, I'm sure. He hung up and walked to the window, looked out, but didn't see anything. His reflection stared back, older, tired, alone. He clenched his jaw, whispered to no one, She should have never come back. But she hadn't said a word. Hadn't asked for anything. Just left a letter, just her presence cracked something. He turned back to the desk, saw the envelope again. Still there, waiting. Jonathan sat back down, the envelope still in his hands. This time he opened it. No greeting, no emotion, just sentences, measured, clear. His name is Elijah. He's 7. He has your eyes. Jonathan paused, heart tight. He was born with a rare blood disorder. He needs a specific match to survive. You are the only one who has it. His fingers froze. He read the last line again. I'm not asking for anything. I just want him to live. He looked up, his face blank, but his hands were shaking. The paper slipped to the floor. He didn't pick it up, only whispered, This can't be real. But he knew it was. Jonathan sat in silence, then reached for his phone, tapped a name. Elliot, Private Affairs. Run a background check, he said, voice low, clipped. Monica James, deceased. Search for a child, Elijah. He hung up, waited, paced. 10 minutes later, his phone buzzed. Elliot, confirmed. Monica passed 7 years ago, complications during childbirth. One child, male, name Elijah James Carter. Raised by Danielle Carter, sister by guardianship. Medical records flagged urgent. Hospital contacted multiple times. They listed you as the last known blood relative. Jonathan didn't speak, just stared at the screen. He read the name again. Elijah. His throat tightened. Buzz. Another message. Elliot. They've been trying to reach you for weeks. The child is in critical condition. Jonathan's phone rang. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. Mr. Blake? A woman's voice. Calm but firm. This is Nurse Taylor from St. Jude's Medical. You've been listed as a potential donor for Elijah James Carter. He didn't respond, just listened. We ran your DNA through emergency channels. You're the only viable match. He sat down, slowly, the weight settling in. Elijah's condition is critical, she continued. He needs a transfusion within 48 hours. Without it... She paused, didn't finish the sentence. Jonathan closed his eyes, pressed 2 fingers to his temple. How did you find me, Baraed? He asked. We tried for weeks, she said. No one else came forward. A beat. Mr. Blake, she added. You're not just a match, you're his father. Jonathan stood by the window, phone still in his hand. He didn't call back, didn't move. His reflection stared back at him, empty, frozen, across town. St. Jude's. Pediatric ICU. Elijah lay pale under soft light. Tiny arms hooked to wires, breathing shallow. Nurse Taylor adjusted his IV. Stay with me, baby, she whispered. Suddenly, a seizure. His body tensed. Monitors beeped. Fast. Loud. Too loud. She pressed the emergency button. Team rushed in. Jonathan still stood still, unaware. Inside the envelope on his desk. A second page he hadn't read yet. Just 6 words. You don't have to be ready. The city lights flickered outside. Jonathan didn't notice. Didn't yet choose. Jonathan grabbed his coat, left the suite door swinging open. No phone, no wallet, just keys and the letter in his pocket. Rain hit his face as he stepped outside. Cab brakes screeched. He got in. St. Jude's, fast! The city blurred past. Red lights, wet windows. He didn't speak, didn't blink. Inside the hospital. Nurse Taylor paced near the ICU, clipboard in hand, eyes scanning each corner. Then she looked up. Jonathan stepped through the door, soaked, breathless. She froze. Took a slow step forward. Mr. Blake? He nodded. She looked at him long, careful. You're the one we've been waiting for. He didn't answer, just looked past her. Toward the hallway, toward the boy. The clipboard was placed in front of him, 2 pages, consent form, risk disclosure. Jonathan stared at the line that said, relation to patient. He didn't write anything, just signed his name. His hand shook. Nurse Taylor handed him the pen again. Date, please. He nodded, tried to steady his grip, couldn't. Ink smudged slightly at the bottom. He didn't fix it. A nurse prepared the draw, rubber tourniquet, alcohol swab. His sleeve rolled up, his arm tensed, jaw tight. You okay? She asked. He nodded. Didn't speak. Blood filled the bag slowly. He looked away, not from the needle, from the door, from what came next. The room was quiet. Machines slowed. Monitors calmed. Elijah blinked, eyes fluttering open, soft light above him. A tube taped near his nose. Nurse Taylor leaned over. Hey, sweetheart, you're okay. He turned his head, slowly, small, weak, then saw Jonathan, sitting against the chair, still, silent. Their eyes met, one pair full of questions, the other full of things unspoken. Elijah's voice came out low, almost a whisper. Are you my dad? Jonathan didn't move, didn't answer. His throat tightened. His hand rested on the edge of the bed, then pulled back. Elijah blinked again, waited. No one said anything, just the sound of the machines, and a boy with his mother's eyes, asking one impossible question. Jonathan stood. He couldn't speak. Elijah still watched him, eyes half open, still waiting. Jonathan turned, hand already reaching for the door, then froze. On the side table, a small frame, faded wood, glass cracked at the corner. Inside, Monica, smiling, holding a baby wrapped in a blue blanket. Jonathan stared. Her eyes, same as Elijah's, same as the ones that haunted his sleep. His breath caught. He stepped closer, trembling. He reached for the photo, but didn't touch it. His hand hovered, then dropped. His knees bent slightly, not from pain, from something heavier. He whispered, I didn't know. The words weren't loud, but they cracked the silence. Behind him, Elijah blinked slowly, still listening, still holding on. Jonathan sat back down, still staring at Monica's photo. Behind him, footsteps, soft, familiar. Danielle stood in the doorway. No uniform now, just quiet presence. He looked up, met her eyes, really saw her. You're, not Monica. She nodded once, steady, calm. I'm not his mother, she said softly. Monica was. Jonathan's face fell. He searched for words. Danielle stepped closer, eyes full but dry. She died the day he was born. I promised her I'd raise him. No matter what. Jonathan leaned forward. Why didn't anyone tell me? Danielle didn't flinch. She tried. You stopped answering. He looked down, fingers gripping the armrest. Danielle added quietly, I didn't come for you. I came for him. Jonathan's voice dropped. When? When did she die? Danielle answered slowly. 7 years ago, after Elijah was born. She lost too much blood. They couldn't save her. Jonathan's jaw tightened. He looked away, hands clenched. I never knew. His voice cracked. Danielle paused, then added, She sent letters, she called. I watched her cry outside your office for hours. He turned sharply. I never got any of that. She nodded. I know. A long silence. Your father, your assistant, maybe both, they screened her out, said you had moved on. Jonathan's eyes narrowed. He remembered the messages never passed on. The calls he was told were spam. He stood, not angry, just hollow. They let her die thinking I didn't care. Danielle didn't answer. She didn't need to. Jonathan sat back down, slower this time. Danielle stayed standing, her voice softened. He asked about you a lot. Jonathan looked up. I never lied, she continued. I told him his father wasn't ready yet, but one day he would be. He blinked. Said nothing. He'd draw pictures of what you might look like. Said you'd show up in a suit with shiny shoes. He even kept a toothbrush in his backpack, just in case. Jonathan swallowed hard. The image hit deeper than he expected. Danielle smiled just slightly. He told his friends, my dad's coming. Maybe not today, but he will. Jonathan looked toward the hallway, where Elijah lay resting, his voice low. After all that, he still believed? Danielle nodded. Every single night. The hallway was quiet again. Jonathan walked slowly toward Elijah's room. Each step felt heavier than the last. He stood by the bed, looked down. Elijah's chest rose, weak but steady. His hand rested beside him, open, waiting. Jonathan reached out, paused, then took it. Gently. His voice came out low, rough, almost unsure. Elijah. The boy didn't open his eyes, but his fingers curled around Jonathan's, small, trusting. Jonathan's face crumbled. His shoulders shook. He lowered his head beside the bed. Tears ran without noise. Years of silence collapsing into one word, one name. I'm here to Elijah. Danielle stood at the doorway. She didn't speak, just placed her hand over her chest and closed her eyes. A week later. Jonathan stood in a small apartment. Boxes on the floor, suits in the closet, untouched. Elijah sat on the couch sketching. Crayons scattered, blanket over his shoulders. Jonathan poured 2 glasses of juice, set one on the table without a word. Elijah looked up, smiled. Jonathan smiled back, awkward, unsure. But it was real. He glanced around. No assistants, no emails, just Legos and cereal and soft morning light. Later he helped Elijah with homework, spelled out long words, sounded out bigger ones. You're better at this than me, Abe, Elijah joked. Jonathan laughed, really laughed. I'm still learning. That night he read a bedtime story, slow, careful, each word like a step forward. He turned off the light, stayed by the bed a moment longer. Jonathan came home late, not from the office, from the grocery store. Milk, apples, cereal Elijah liked. He set the bag down. Elijah ran to him with something in both hands. A card, folded paper. Crayons still wet in the corners. Jonathan knelt to open it. On the front, a crooked heart. Inside. Big letters, uneven but careful. Thank you for not leaving me. Like they said you would. Jonathan froze, read it again and again. His throat tightened. He looked at Elijah Segea. The boy smiled, soft, like it wasn't a big thing to say, like it was just truth. I knew you'd come, Elijah added. Jonathan pulled him close, held him longer this time. No words, just warmth. It was quiet, just wind and stone. Jonathan stood in front of the grave, simple, clean. Monica James, 1989-2016. He held a photo in his hand. Elijah, laughing, alive, like... He knelt, brushed away a leaf, placed the photo gently by the headstone. I should have been there, he whispered. You didn't deserve silence. His hand rested on the cold stone, fingers trembling but still. He's okay. He's brave, just like you. He exhaled slowly, the weight behind the words heavier than the sky. I'm sorry, Monica, for not answering, for not coming, for everything. He stayed there for a while, not crying, just there. Before leaving, he looked back once, then walked away. The photo stayed behind. So did a part of him. Jonathan sat at the kitchen table, Elijah already asleep in the next room. The apartment was quiet. Danielle handed him a small envelope, worn, faded, Monica's handwriting across the front. For Elijah, your first birthday. He opened it slowly, unfolded the page. Monica's voice echoed in his mind as he read. Happy birthday, my little light. You won't remember this, but I hope someone reads it to you one day. You were born with a fight in you. That's your father's side. But your heart, that's mine. Jonathan smiled faintly, eyes stinging. No matter what the world tells you, you were always wanted, even if he doesn't come. Know that I believed he would. He paused, looked toward Elijah's room. Be gentle, my son. The world needs more of that. The letter shook in his hands. Morning light crept through the blinds. Jonathan stood in the kitchen, still holding Monica's letter. Danielle entered, quiet, holding 2 mugs of coffee. He looked at her, eyes tired. But softer now. No pride, no distance. He took the cup, set it down, then stepped forward, no speech, just one deep breath. Then he hugged her, not quick, not awkward, real, his voice barely above a whisper. I owe you more than I can repay. I owe you a whole family. Danielle didn't move at first, then nodded. Her voice calm like always. You don't owe me anything. Just don't disappear again. He pulled back slightly, eyes wet. I won't. The two stood still, cups untouched. The silence didn't feel heavy anymore, just true. The gate creaked open. Jonathan held it steady while Elijah rolled in a suitcase. Too big for him, but he pulled it anyway. Danielle followed, arms full of books and cereal boxes. No moving truck. Just what mattered. The house wasn't grand, not anymore. Jonathan had sold the penthouse, chose something smaller, earth level. The living room had no chandelier, just a couch with a blanket Elijah picked. A kitchen table with 3 mismatched chairs. Jonathan stood in the hallway, listened. Elijah's footsteps upstairs. Danielle humming in the kitchen. He smiled. No flash, just peace. Later they ate sandwiches on the floor. No plates, no rush. Elijah leaned against Jonathan, whispered something that made them both laugh. And for the first time, Jonathan didn't feel like he'd lost anything. The hall was quiet. Small crowd, no press. Jonathan stood at the podium, no suit, just a gray sweater and tired hands. Behind him, a banner, the Monica James Foundation, scholarships for single mothers in healthcare. He cleared his throat, looked out at a few rows of faces. She never had much, but she gave everything. He paused. Held up a framed photo of Monica, the same one from the hospital. She saved lives, quietly. This is to make sure that never goes unnoticed. Danielle sat in the front row, Elijah beside her swinging his legs. Jonathan looked down at them, smiled. This is not a tribute. It's a promise. Her name will open doors, just like she opened mine. Applause came soft, but it lasted. Folding chairs, paper caps, little voices practicing names. Jonathan sat near the back, camera in hand, shaking slightly. On stage, Elijah, tiny gown, shoes too big. He walked to the mic, holding a rolled-up paper. The teacher whispered something. He nodded, then cleared his throat. I want to thank Miss Daniels for reading stories, and my best friend Miles for sharing crayons. He paused, scanned the crowd. Eyes stopped, on Jonathan. A breath. Then, and I want to thank my dad for showing up, even when it was hard. Jonathan froze. So did Danielle beside him. The room clapped. But Jonathan didn't move, just looked at Elijah. One word, and it undid years of silence. He smiled. Tears came fast. Late afternoon, sunlight poured through the backyard trees, warm, soft. Jonathan sat on the porch steps, hands resting on his knees, no phone, no watch, just stillness. Elijah chased bubbles across the grass, laughed when one stuck to his shirt. Danielle sat nearby, book in hand, eyes half on the page. Jonathan didn't speak, didn't need to. He just watched. The boy ran in circles, free, light, alive. For once there was no weight on Jonathan's shoulders, no echo of what should have been, just this. A single bubble floated toward him, landed gently on his wrist, popped, gone. Jonathan blinked, then smiled, not polite, not practiced, real. The sun dipped lower. Elijah still played. Danielle laughed softly from the porch. Jonathan leaned back, closed his eyes. No words, no more past to fix, just moments left to live. He waited too long. He lost more than time, but he showed up before it was too late. You still have time. So what do you choose? Forgiveness? Or holding on like Jonathan once did? A beat. If you've ever needed a second chance, not for someone else, but for yourself, leave A in the comments. You're not alone. The screen fades to black. A single line appears. Sometimes as if showing up is enough.